Hey there, 5-6. Welcome back. This is part 2 of our series on second chances. To say Samson lived a life that was unique and set apart would be a serious understatement. Before Samson was ever born, God made it clear that he had a special plan for Samson's life. And although Samson made some pretty big mistakes, he also modeled for us what it means to embrace the second chances offered to all of us. So our story today comes from Judges 13, 1 through 5, 24 through 25, 16, 1 through 6, and 22 through 30. You can read that on your own, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of that story. So we all know Samson was a long-haired Nazarite who was blessed with superhuman strength given to him by God. As a Nazarite, Samson was required to keep 3 commitments. Do you know what those are? First, he would not eat grapes or drink wine. Kind of crazy, right? Second, he would not touch anything dead. And third, he would never cut his hair. Can you imagine never cutting your hair? The purpose of these 3 commitments was to be completely set apart from the rest of the culture of this time. So the hope was Samson would be different in order that God would use him to overthrow the evil Philistines. So Samson let his hair grow long and followed the Nazarite vow, but told no one about his secret. Dun, dun, dun. Eventually, Samson met a woman named Delilah, whom he fell deeply in love with. The Philistines saw how much they loved each other and put together a plan to use Delilah to find out the source of Samson's strength. So the Philistine leaders each paid Delilah silver pieces to get her to figure out the secret of Samson's strength. Now, the problem for Delilah was Samson was not interested in sharing his long-held secret, even with his wife. So after she made several unsuccessful attempts, Samson finally gave in to her. Shortly after learning the news, Delilah passed on the information to the Philistine leaders. Can you imagine sharing your deepest, darkest secret with someone, and then they just went ahead and told someone else? That's exactly what Delilah did. She then was able to get Samson to fall asleep on her lap and then shaved his head. In his point of greatest weakness, the Philistines moved in, plucked out his eyes, and made him their slave. Ah! They plucked out his eyes. He was like Thor. One day, while the Philistines were having a huge party worshiping their false god named Dagon, they decided to bring out Samson so they could make fun of him. By that time, Samson's hair had grown longer and he had regained much of his strength. He had been placed in front of the Philistines in between 2 gigantic pillars. While there, he prayed that God would give him strength with the second chance he had been given as he shouted, "Let me die with the Philistines." We are told that there were at least 3,000 Philistines on the roof of the building and any more inside, including the Philistine leaders. So when Samson pushes against the pillars, the building fell down, killing everyone, including Samson himself. So now that we've seen some highlights of Samson's life, let's take some time to see what we can learn from his experiences. The first thing I want to call out is second chances remind us of our potential. What I want for you to do is look at the questions on the screen and then answer them on your own. Make sure to pause the video to give yourself time to answer the questions. Everyone has potential to be used by God to do great things for Him. You may not have superhuman strength like Samson, but you have a combination of skills, talents, gifts, and abilities that exist only in you. No one else has the exact same combination, and you have the opportunity to use that potential to serve and honor God. Another point I want to call out is second chances remind us of our abilities. I'm going to put the questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and answer those questions. All right, 5, 6, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Are you ready? We are imperfect. We are imperfect and we struggle with sin and temptation. Everyone does. Because of our brokenness, we sometimes do things that don't honor God. But the great news is that we don't have to be defined by the brokenness in our life. Because of God's incredible love, we can be defined by the power of God's love for all of us. The third thing I want to point out is that second chances remind us of our purpose. I'm going to put the questions on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer the questions. Samson was born into this world with pretty much everything he needed for success. Unfortunately, he spent much of his life not fulfilling his God given purpose. Fortunately, he did get a second chance in the final moments of his life. He had the opportunity to finish well and honor God when it counted the most. All right, 5, 6. I'm going to put some extra discussion questions on the screen. I want you to take time to answer them on your own in your journal or whatever. That's all I have for today, and I will see you next time.